Hello. So we will continue our lesson on our second week rather, with matter and atoms. By the way, this topic is found in chapter 2 of um, chemistry by Raymond Chang. So for today, we will be talking about atoms. Okay, so to continue, the first observations or the first study of atoms was made by Democritus in 5 BC, in which he coined the term or the word atomos. For him, the atom was an uncuttable. Atomos means uncuttable. So he referred to the atom as an uncuttable or indivisible particle. Now, it was a long-held theory until John Dalton in 1808 proposed or made his atomic theory, wherein he had several proposals or statements. So, according to John Dalton, elements are composed of extremely small particles, which he then called the atoms. Second, all atoms of a given element are identical, having the same size, mass, and chemical properties. The atoms of one element are different from the atoms of all other elements. Now, in the second statement of John Dalton, he was referring to the atoms of different elements. For example, an atom of hydrogen is different from an atom of oxygen. Okay, so an atom of carbon is different from the atom of nitrogen. But little did he know that a single or an element may have more than one atom. So later on, the isotopes was discovered so that an hydrogen or atom, an element carbon may have two or three or more atoms of carbon. Okay, so that's an isotope. An element hydrogen may have two or more atoms of hydrogen. The third, compounds are composed of atoms of more than one element. In any compound, the ratio of the numbers of atoms of any two of the elements present is either an integer or a simple fraction. Meaning to say, this is actually supporting the statement of Proust of um, the law of definite proportion. According to the law of definite proportion, when you form a compound, the number of elements comprising that compound should be in a ratio of whole numbers. So it's either as a fraction or it's either an integer. So example, if we have water, which is H2O, it is made up of the elements hydrogen and oxygen. So the ratio of the components in water or in H2O is that there are two atoms of hydrogen for every a single atom of oxygen. Another example is if you have carbon dioxide, wherein the elemental composition is carbon and oxygen. So, in the law of definite proportions in carbon dioxide, there is one atom of carbon for every two atoms of oxygen, forming the compound carbon dioxide. The fourth um, proposed theory of John Dalton, a chemical reaction involves only the separation, combination, or rearrangement of atoms. Is that it does not result in their creation or destruction. This means that, or actually, this supports the law of conservation of mass, that mass is neither created nor destroyed. So if you take a look at the chemical reaction, the mass of the element before the reaction and the mass of the element or the elements after the reaction is the same. So it is neither created nor destroyed. Also, John Dalton's atomic theory also supports the law of multiple proportions. So the law of multiple proportions explains that um, in a given set of elements, the elements can form two or more compounds. Let's say, for example, between carbon and oxygen. Between carbon and oxygen, it can form a compound carbon monoxide and carbon dioxide. So in the law of multiple proportions, each of the compound is made up of similar elements. However, the proportion or the ratio of the elements comprising or the atoms comprising the compound is different from one another. So, um, so that is John Dalton's theory. Then, in the 1850s, the atoms were discovered to have an internal structure. So, after all, the atom is not an indivisible or an uncuttable particle, because in the 1850s they have discovered that there are subatomic particles in the atom. So structure wise, an atom is a basic unit of your element that can enter into a chemical combination. Then in the 1850s, the atom is discovered to have subatomic particles such as the electron, the proton, and the neutron. The electron was discovered to have a negative charge, and the discovery was made through a cathode ray tube experiment. The cathode ray tube is actually made up of two sides or two ends. The first end is an anode and the other end is a cathode. So the anode is receiving the positive charges and the cathode is receiving the negative charges. So that's how they discovered the electron. And that discovery was made by J.J. Thomson. The proton is another subatomic particle, was discovered to have a positive charge through an alpha scattering experiment. In the alpha scattering experiment, a gold film was put between a beam of light in which the particles scattered. So in the alpha scattering element, so Ernest Rutherford discovered in 1910 discovered that the positive charges are concentrated in the nucleus. So the nucleus is the central core within the atom. So during the alpha scattering experiment, he discovered that there were some particles that passed through the gold film, whereas there were some particles that were deflected in the gold film. So those particles that were deflected were actually the ones that were concentrated in the nucleus. Now, also in this case, Ernest Rutherford was able to develop a new model for the structure or for how the atom looks like, because J.J. Thomson actually represented your atom as a plum pudding model, wherein, example, you have a piece of bread and the piece of bread is considered as the atom, and the raisins inside of your bread is considered as the electrons. So the electrons, according to Thomson, is scattered around the atom. Whereas in Ernest Rutherford's model of the atom, the proton is concentrated in a particular area and the electrons were considered to be surrounding your atom. Okay, so that is Rutherford's model. Now, by then, an atom is considered to have a centrally located nucleus, which is responsible mainly for the majority of the mass of your atom. However, in terms of the volume of your entire atom, it only consists 1 over 10 to the 13th, or that's 10 to the negative 13, volume of your atom. So meaning the nucleus is just very small and much of the structure of the atom is attributed to the electron. Now, the third subatomic particle is called the neutron. The neutron is considered to have a neutral charge as discovered by James Chadwick in 1932. So the discovery of the neutron was done through an experiment using the alpha scattering experiment, but this time using beryllium instead of the gold film. So James Chadwick discovered that electrically neutral particles have a mass slightly greater than that of the protons. So an element is represented by this symbol. You have a superscript A, an X, and a subscript Z. So what is Z? Z, the subscript, refers to the atomic number of your element. It also tells you the number of protons, and if you have a neutral element, the number of protons will then be equal to the number of electrons. The A, the superscript, refers to the mass number of your element. So since the mass number is where you find the protons and the neutrons, the mass number is equal to the mass number, or the nucleus is equal to the number of the protons and the number of neutrons. So to find the number of neutrons, you just subtract the mass number with the number of protons. X refers to the symbol of the element. So the symbol of the element can be represented in the following, or can be derived in the following ways. First is the element is given the symbol according to the first letter of your element. So example, carbon has the symbol C, oxygen has the symbol O, and nitrogen has the symbol N. Second is the first two letter of the word. So example, if you have calcium, so that's Ca, cobalt, Co, nickel, Ni. The third way is through the first syllable when you pronounce the word. So chlorine is Cl, magnesium, Mg, zinc, Zn. Fourth is through its Latin word. So example, iron has the symbol Fe, which stands for ferrum. Copper has the symbol Cu, which is cuprum. Gold is Au, which stands for aurum. There are other Latin words in your elements, so the rest of those elements with its Latin name is given to you as an assignment. And last, the symbol of your element could be named according to the discovery, the place of the discovery, or the person who discovered the element. For example, Cf is Californium because the element is synthesized in the laboratory of UCLA, which is in California. Rf is Rutherfordium in as a or Rutherfordium um, in honor of Ernest Rutherford. So here, for our exercises, I will be giving you, or I'm giving you the following data in which you're going to give me the name of the element, the mass number, the atomic number, the number of protons, electrons, and neutrons. Again, the submission deadline is on Friday. And also, we will be having a quiz, a check-up quiz, around 15-minute quiz on or in the next meeting. Okay, so thank you.